Man, we got bowl season. We got bowl season hitting, and I know there's so much going on with some of the other bowls that don't make the New Year's Six. Let's talk New Year's Six, though, for a second. Any games that you're specifically watching, like, man, I got to cancel all the plans on this day at this time because I want to watch X game, rather?
Well, outside of the college football playoff, it seems like, if you're not a Liberty or you weren't a Tulane from last year, it's kind of tough to garner momentum from bowl games with the transfer portal. But I look at a team like Missouri playing Ohio State, and it's something we talked about right when the bowl got announced. You talk about a momentum changer coming off what's been a heck of a year for Drinkowitz, and I think Ole Miss is in the same boat too. Playing Penn State, you have a chance to hit that 11th win. But for Missouri, not that Penn State isn't a big brand. We know Penn State's a massive brand. But I think we can tell the difference a little bit between Ohio State and Penn State. 10 years from now, they're not going to say, oh, well, Missouri beat an Ohio State team with half their players in the portal and their hand behind their back. No, it's going to be Missouri beat Penn State. But more importantly, it's going to be a springboard into next year where you return your starting quarterback, who we know is a heck of a player. You return who I believe is your best offensive player. I don't think there's a ton of argument on that in Luther Burden. You just got some momentum from the transfer portal with Caden Green on the offensive line, and you're returning some guys on defense with the schedule, JD, that while no schedule, I don't care what anybody says in the SEC is easy, it is lighter than most other SEC teams. So I think if we're going to look at not only matchups, but momentum, which I think is the biggest thing you can get from a bowl outside of the college football playoff, I'm looking at Missouri, Ohio State, and I'm looking at Ole Miss, Penn State. Ole Miss, who returns their quarterback, right? We'll see Judkins. We know what they've done in the transfer portal, and they have somewhat of a lighter schedule next year. So it's really those two I'm looking at. But, JD, I'm like you. It could be Bishop Sycamore versus the Little Giants, and I'm going to watch it.
Man, yeah, that one I think is the nightcap, Bishop Sycamore and Little Giants. I think that one is a little bit later. You got to have the right package, though, on your television to catch that one. But no, I'm with you, bro. I mean, I was thinking about this. If we went to 12 this year, who wants to see Missouri in a 12-team playoff right now?
Nobody.
With the way that they're rolling with Schrader and Cook and Drinkwitz, like they got the juice right now, man.
They really do. And look, it's just like any other sport, right? You want to be playing your best ball at the end of the year. We talk about this all the time in college basketball. We talk about it all the time in the NFL to use the same sport, but we all know it's a different game. Listen, what I really hope, JD, and I don't think Missouri is the only team that you wouldn't want to play right now. But when I look at this 12-team playoff and I look at this past season, I hope that this is the new norm, because the 12-team playoff this year would be absolutely insane and unbelievably entertaining. But I hope we don't go back to, all right, well, here's the best team. Can anybody catch them? Or here's the best two teams, and the gap past them is the width of the Pacific Ocean. I hope this is the new norm. I don't want this to be the anomaly. When's the last time, JD, that you can remember, honestly, and ball, that more than 3 teams, and I can even put it at 4, more than 4 teams had the chance to win a national championship, let alone 7, let alone 8. I just hope this is the new normal and this isn't the anomaly.
And I'm wondering if this is a product of the portal and NIL, and that was kind of like the advertising on the front end was, okay, there's going to be more parity, there's going to be more big names moving around, they'll kind of spread the wealth more evenly. And I heard that at the beginning, and I didn't know if I bought it because I was like, all right, well, Alabama's still got a lot of money too. Well, Georgia, they're still, the places that care about football are the places that are good at football already, so I was curious. But no, with the expanded playoff, I think we're going to learn a lot. I would expand the playoff this year if we could get Georgia and Florida State in there, get a 6-teamer, man. They're going to play
Who
in
would
the
be
Orange
mad,
Bowl.
JD? Who would be mad? Who would be upset about that? Name one person like, man, this sucks. This is the worst. I hate this. I wouldn't have minded if they said, you know what? This Florida State-Alabama situation is weird. Y'all just play each other. Playing game. Now, Alabama fans may not have been happy. Florida State fans may not have been happy about having to have a playing game, but we would determine it on the field. We've already changed every other rule in college football with the transfer. You can play 9 years now, right? You can transfer 35 times with no penalty. Well, we can at least add a play-in game. But, I think it's, and I said this on the show on Credit Company, I think this parity, it's the causes of it. It's like a good lasagna, right? It's multiple things coming together to make one delicious thing. I think you've had the transfer portal, which I believe lifts everybody's floor. Now, the rich are always going to get richer. We know that, regardless of what area of life we're in, because they control it. But when you look at everybody's floor being raised with experience, guys that can come in and play right away, and you mix that with quarterbacks not returning at some really, really top tier places all in the same year, even though some of them's worked out. You mix it with the COVID year. I think this is a to use the biggest word I know, an amalgamation of a lot of things coming together to make one amazing lasagna. But like I said earlier, I don't want this to be the only meal I have lasagna, JD. I'll eat lasagna every night for dinner if it's going to be this good. So we'll see. And, you see Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss running out this, what I call the mercenary experiment, where you just build the team through the transfer portal every single year. Do I think it's going to work? Like, to be able to strive and win at a very high level consistently? I don't, but we don't know. We haven't seen this before. It works in college basketball, but that's a much smaller roster. It's a different way of building a team. So, man, I just, to make a long story short, I want some good lasagna, JD. That's what I want.
Bro, you and me both. And that plus you dropping the word amalgamation on the show right now. One, that's a first, so we appreciate you breaking that barrier for us.
Biggest
two,
word I know.
You could just walk it off right now and just say, hey, great segment. We'll ditch the rest of what we're talking about. But you mentioned it with the portal, like Florida State, another example of that where they've been crushing through the portal and now kind of got some momentum where they can go on the recruiting trail and grab some top guys. When it comes to Florida State, if I'm making you the head coach, you and Mike Norvell swap polos for the day, you'll say you beat Georgia, undefeated season. You hanging a banner?
Here's the thing, JD. I've already hung the banner. Like the banner, the minute the Alabama A was shown in that fourth spot, we're national champions. I wish Mike Norvell would have stood up, turned around and said, I want to congratulate everybody associated with the program on winning the 2023 national championship. I'm not playing. Like, when people say, oh, well, that's scared. That's not teaching them the right things. Well, I think they stopped teaching them the right things when a Power 5 team went 13-0 and didn't get to play in the playoff. Like, and again, do I think Alabama is a better team than Florida State without Jordan Travis? Yes. Do I think Alabama is a better team than Florida State when they have Jordan Travis? You can make a pretty good case that they are, but at the end of the day, you are rewarded for what you do on the field. And when you go undefeated, regardless of injury, which is one factor in the pamphlet, everybody wanted to act like it was the factor that usurped all the other factors or the most important factor. No, it wasn't. So if I'm Mike Norvell, we were perfect. Y'all didn't let us play. We're not Tulane. Y'all let Cincinnati get in. And we can't, and Florida State can't get in. So if I'm Mike Norvell, let's order the rings. We're going to have the parade the night of the national championship game at the exact time that it's on. Like, it is full of spite. Give me my ring. This is absolute trash. That's what I'd done if I was Mike Norvell. And I'd bring the braids back, but that's just me.
Bro, I love it. I absolutely love that idea, and I hope Mike Norvell's listening and kind of following suit here. Not because I don't hope we get the game, but I do hope they end up throwing a parade and they get the rings and the banners. My thing with this whole situation around Florida State was they didn't curve them accordingly until Selection Sunday. Like, we had a couple of weeks here where you could have told us, hey, without Jordan Travis, you're not a top 5 team. You're not a top 4 team. And every single week it was like, I think they were at 5 one week. They were at 4 heading into the conference title weekend. And then coming out of conference title weekend where you handle business, then they go, well, actually, you don't have Jordan Travis. So for that reason, we're going to go ahead and knock you down below Alabama. Like, that, to me, I think you're right on the money, Jake.
Why,
like,
JD?
if I'm Florida State, I'm
they
extremely
don't tell
upset.
you who The Bachelor chooses on the first episode. It's a TV show. If they'd have done that, nobody would have watched. But it was the most watched reveal of all time ever? Right? It's a TV show. Here's what we have to understand, just like in every other walk of life, whether you're an accountant, whether you're in some other business, whatever, making money. That's what this is about. And at the end of the day, that was the route that was taken. They built up that TV show to be able to get all those ratings, to get everybody talking about it, and it worked out. And I think going to the 12-team playoff next year kind of let them off the hook a little bit, right? Or they'd have to make some serious changes if it was still a 4-team playoff. So it's a TV show, and they pushed it to the furthest extent.
No, you're absolutely right. They made out just fine being able to get that 12-team playoff the next year. And, hey, no problem. Like a thief in the night, wipe our hands of this and move to the next thing this next season. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.